Good morning, my friends. I apologize for my tardiness. I'm a little late getting on here this morning. Overslept by a fair amount. Hour and a half. Just a wee bit. Clearly, I needed a little extra sleepy sleep this morning because I went to bed at 9 after taking a 2.5-hour nap yesterday. I still went to bed at 9 and I still overslept by an hour and a half. So I'm here. That's what matters. I had my Dupixent injection yesterday and that stuff wrecks me. I have to take one every 2 weeks. When I can finally start taking these injections at home, I will be glad because I can take it at bedtime. It just knocks me out. It's like taking a triple dose of Benadryl. I swear, it's like, whoo. All right. April 20th, David is anointed king of Judah, 2 Samuel 2, 1-7, which was 1010 BC. After this, David asked the Lord, "Should I move back to one of the towns of Judah?" "Yes," the Lord replied. Then David asked, "Which town should I go to?" "To Hebron," the Lord answered. David's two wives were Ahinoam from Jezreel, and Abigail, the widow of Nabal from Carmel. So David and his wives and his men and their families all moved to Judah, and they settled in the villages near Hebron. The men of Judah came to David and anointed him king over the people of Judah. When David heard that the men of Jabesh Gilead had buried Saul, he sent them this message: "May the Lord bless you for being so loyal to your master, Saul, and giving him a decent burial. May the Lord be loyal to you in return and reward you with his unfailing love. And I too will reward you for what you have done. Now that Saul is dead, I ask you to be my strong and loyal subjects, like the people of Judah, who have anointed me as their new king." Ishbosheth proclaimed king of Israel. 2 Samuel 2, 8-11. But Abner, son of Ner, the commander of Saul's army, had already gone to Mahanaim with Saul's son Ishbosheth. There he proclaimed Ishbosheth king over Gilead, Jezreel, Ephraim, Benjamin, and the land of the Asherites, and all of the rest of Israel. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he became king, and he ruled from Mahanaim for 2 years. Meanwhile, the people of Judah remained loyal to David. David made Hebron his capital, and he ruled as king of Judah for 7.5 years. War between Israel and Judah, 2 Samuel 2, 12-17. One day, Abner led Ishbosheth's troops from Mahanaim to Gibeon. About the same time, Joab, son of Zeruiah, led David's troops out and met them at the pool of Gibeon. The two groups sat down there facing each other from opposite sides of the pool. Then Abner suggested to Joab, "Let's have a few of our warriors fight hand to hand here in front of us." "All right," Joab agreed. So the 12 men were chosen to fight from each side, 12 men of Benjamin representing Ishbosheth, son of Saul, and 12 representing David. Each one grabbed his opponent by the hair and thrust his sword into the other's side so that all of them died. So this place at Gibeon has been known ever since as the Field of Swords. My doorbell keeps going off and I don't know why, and it's freaking me out. Y'all, it's freaking me out. I'm getting wicked messed up here because it keeps going off. But I don't know why. A fierce battle followed that day, and Abner, the men of Israel, were defeated by the forces of David. The death of Asahel, 2 Samuel 2, 18-3-1. Joab, Abishai, and Asahel, and the 3 sons of Zeruiah were among David's forces that day. Asahel could run like a gazelle, and he began chasing Abner. He pursued him relentlessly, not stopping for anything. When Abner looked back and saw him coming, he called out, "Is that you, Asahel?" "Yes, it is," he replied. "Go fight someone else," Abner warned. "Take on one of the younger men and strip him of his weapons." But Asahel kept right on chasing Abner. Do you think the wind is setting off my doorbell? Or it's freaking me out. This is the 3rd time it's happened this morning, and I'm like, Is someone messing with me? Nobody's on my Ring camera, so. Alright, sorry. Take one of the younger men and strip him of his weapons. But Asahel kept right on chasing Abner. Again, Abner shouted to him, "Get away from here. I don't want to kill you. How could you ever face your brother Joab again?" But Asahel refused to turn back, so Abner thrust the butt end of his spear through Asahel's stomach, and the spear came out through his back. He stumbled to the ground and died there, and everyone who came by that spot stopped and stood still when they saw Asahel lying there. When Joab and Abishai found out what had happened, they set out after Abner. The sun was just going down as they arrived at the hill of Ammah, near Giah, along the road to the wilderness of Gibeon. Abner's troops from the tribe of Benjamin regrouped there at the top of the hill to take a stand. Abner shouted down to Joab, Must we always be killing each other? Don't you realize that bitterness is the only result? When will you call off your men from chasing their Israelite brothers?" Then Joab said, "God only knows what would have happened if you hadn't spoken, for we would have chased you all night if necessary." So Joab blew the ram's horn, and the men stopped chasing the troops of Israel. All that night, Abner and his men retreated through the Jordan Valley. They crossed the Jordan River, traveling through the morning, and didn't stop until they arrived at Mahanaim. Meanwhile, Joab and his men also returned home. When Joab counted his casualties, he discovered that only 19 men were missing in addition to Asahel, but 360 of Abner's men had been killed, all from the tribe of Benjamin. Joab and his men took Asahel's body to Bethlehem and buried him there in his father's tomb. Then they traveled all night and reached Hebron at daybreak. That was the beginning of a long war between those who were loyal to Saul and those loyal to David. As time passed, David became stronger and stronger, when Saul's dynasty became weaker and weaker. David's sons born in Hebron, 2 Samuel 3, 2-5. These are the sons who were born to David in Hebron. The oldest was Ammon, whose mother was Ahinoam from Jezreel. The second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail, the widow of Nabal, from Carmel. The third was Absalom, whose mother was Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. The fourth was Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. The sixth was Ithream, whose mother was Eglah, David's wife. These sons were all born to David in Hebron. 1 Chronicles 3, 1-4-a. These are the sons of David who were born in Hebron. The oldest was Ammon, whose mother was Ahinoam from Jezreel. The second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail from Carmel. The third was Absalom, whose mother was Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. The fourth was Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. Come here, Bassie, it's okay. The sixth was Ithream, whose mother was Eglah, David's wife. These 6 sons were born to David in Hebron, where he reigned 7.5 years. I know. I know, and there's nobody there. It's giving me anxiety, y'all. I wonder if the battery's dying on the Ring. Does it do that when the battery dies? I've got the camera on. There is nobody there. I don't like it. It's got me freaked completely out. My heart is like, do you think maybe, that's what I'm wondering, does the doorbell ding when it gets a low battery? There's nothing on my camera saying it's low. There's nobody there. That's like the 6th time. Listen, I feel like I'm in the movie The Gremlins, and there's a gremlin about to reach out from under the bed and grab my foot. I'm not going to be able to put my feet on the floor the rest of the day. I'm going to have to sit right in this chair, because that's what happens when I get scared. It's a ghost of Amazon. There's like a super bright sun. Can you see the bright sun shining? It's right at my doorbell. Oh my word. David's mightiest men. 2 Samuel 23, 8-17. These are the names of David's mightiest warriors The first... I can't stop digging. I can't stop giggling. The first was Jashobeam, the Hakmonite, who was the leader of the three mightiest warriors among David's men. He once used his spear to kill 800 enemy warriors in a single battle. The next in rank among the three was Eliezer, son of Dodi, a descendant of Ahoah. Once Eliezer and David stood together against the Philistines when the entire Israelite army had fled. He killed Philistines until his hand was too tired to lift his sword, and the Lord gave him a great victory that day. The rest of the army did not return until it was time to collect the plunder. Next in rank was Shammah, son of Agi from Harar. One time the Philistines gathered at Lehi and attacked the Israelites in a field full of lentils. The Israelite army fled, but Shammah held his ground in the middle of the field and beat back the Philistines. So the Lord brought about a great victory. Once during the harvest, when David was at the cave of Adullam, the Philistine army was camped in the valley of Rephaim. The three, who were among the 30, an elite group of David's fighting men, went down to meet him there. David was staying in the stronghold at the time, and the Philistine detachment had occupied the town of Bethlehem. David remarked longingly to his men, "Oh, how I would love some of that good water from the well by the gate of Bethlehem." So the three broke through the Philistine lines, drew some water from the well by the gate of Bethlehem, and brought it back to David. But he refused to drink it. Instead, he poured it out as an offering to the Lord. "The Lord forbid that I should drink this," he exclaimed. "This water is as precious as the blood of these men who risked their lives to bring it to me." So David did not drink it. These are examples of the exploits of the three. 1 Chronicles 11:10 through 19. These are the leaders of David's mighty warriors. Together with all of Israel, they decided to make David their king, just as the Lord had promised concerning Israel. Here is the record of David's mightiest warriors. The first was Jashobeam, the Hakmonite, who was the leader of the three, the mightiest warriors among David's men. He once used his spear to kill 300 enemy warriors in a single battle. Next in rank among the three was Eliezer, son of Dodi, the descendants of Ahoah. He was with David when the Philistines gathered for battle at Pasadamon and attacked the Israelites in a field full of barley. The Israelite armies fled, but Eliezer and David held their ground in the middle of the field and beat back the Philistines. So the Lord saved them by giving them a great victory. Once, when David was at the rock near the cave of Adullam, the Philistine army was camped in the valley of Rephaim. The three, who were among the 30, an elite group among David's fighting men, went down to meet him there. David was staying in the stronghold at the time, and the Philistine detachment had occupied from the town of Bethlehem. David remarked longingly to his men, "Oh, how I would love some of that good water from the well by the gate in Bethlehem." So the three broke through the Philistine lines, drew some water from the well by the gate in Bethlehem, and brought it back to David. But David refused to drink it. Instead, he poured it out as an offering to the Lord. "God forbid that I should drink this," he exclaimed. "This water is as precious as the blood of these men who risked their lives to bring it to me." So David did not drink it. These are the examples of the exploits of the three. David's 30 mighty men, 2 Samuel 23:18 through 39. Abishai, son of Zeruiah, the brother of Joab, was the leader of the 30. He once used his spear to kill 300 enemy warriors in a single battle. It was by such feats that he became as famous as the three. Abishai was the most famous of the 30 and was their commander, though he was not one of the three. There was also Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, a valiant warrior from Kabzeel. He did many heroic deeds, which included killing 2 champions of Moab. Another time, on a snowy day, he chased a lion down in the pit and killed it. Once, armed with only a club, he killed an imposing Egyptian warrior who was armed with a spear. Benaiah wrenched the spear from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with it. Deeds like these made Benaiah as famous as the 3 mightiest warriors. He was more honored than the other members of the 30, though he was not one of the 3, and David made him captain of his bodyguard. Other members of the 30 included Asahel, Joab's brother, Elhanan, son of Dodo from Bethlehem, Shammah from Herod, Elikah from Herod, Helez from Pelon, Ira, son of Ikesh from Tekoa, Abiezer from Anathoth, Sibbecai from Husha, Zalman from Ahoah, Mahari from Netopha, Heled from Bana from Netopha, Ithai, son of Ribai, from Gibeah in the land of Benjamin, Benaiah from Piriathon, Hurai from Nahal Gash, Abi Albin. What's the matter, Bessie? Now he's growling. Abi Albin from Arabah, Asmaveth from Bahurim, Eliabah from Shelban, the sons of Jashan, Jonathan, son of Shaggy, from Harar, Ahiam, son of Sharar, from Harar, Eliphalet, son of Ahasbai, from Makkah, Eliam, son of Ahithophel, from Gilo, Hezro from Carmel, Parai from Arba, Egal from Nathan and Zobah, Bani from Gad, Zelek from Ammon, Nahare from Beeroth, the armor-bearer of Joab, son of Zeruiah, Ira from Jader, Gareb from Jader, and Uriah the Hittite. Lord have mercy. There were 37 in all. 1 Chronicles 11:20 through 47. I think I get to read these names all over again. Abishai, the brother of Joab, was the leader of the 30. He once used his spear to kill 300 enemy warriors in a single battle. It was by such feats that he became as famous as the three. Abishai was the most famous of the 30 and was their commander, though he was not one of the three. There was also Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, a valiant warrior from Kabzeel. He did many heroic deeds, which included killing 2 champions of Moab. Another time, on a snowy day, he chased a lion down into a pit and killed it. Once, armed with only a club, he killed an Egyptian warrior who was 7.5 feet tall and who was armed with a spear as thick as a weaver's beam. Benaiah wrenched the spear from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with it. Deeds like these made Benaiah as famous as the 3 mightiest warriors. He was more honored than the other members of the 30, though he was not one of the 3, and David made him captain of his bodyguard. David's mighty warriors also included Asahel, Joab's brother, Elhanan, son of Dodo, from Bethlehem, Shammah from Herod, Helez from Pelon, Ira, son of Ikish, from Tekoa, Abiezer from Anathoth, Sibbecai from Husha, Zalman from Ahoa, Mahari from Netopha, Heled, son of Bana, from Netopha, Ithai, son of Ribai, from Gibeah in the land of Benjamin, Benaiah from Pirathon, Hurai from near Nahal Gash, Abi Alban from Araba, Asmaveth from Bahurim, Eliabah from Shelban, the sons of Jashan from Gizon, Jonathan, son of Shaggy, from Harar, Ahiam, son of Sharar, from Harar, Eliphal, son of Hefer from Makera, Ahijah from Pelon, Hezro from Carmel, Pari, son of Ezbai, Joel, the brother of Nathan, Mibhar, son of Hagri, Zelek from Ammon, Nahari from Beeroth, the armor-bearer of Joab and son of Zeruiah, Ira from Jatir, Gareb from Jatir, Uriah the Hittite, Zabad from Alai, Adina, son of Shiza, the Reubenite leader who had 30 men with him, Hanan, son of Makkah, Jehoshaphat from Mithna, Uzziah from Ashtaroth, Shammah from Jael, the sons of Hotham and Arior, Jadiel, son of Shimri, Joha, his brother, from Tiz, Eliel from Mahava, Jerubai from Joshaviah, the sons of Elnam, Ithma from Moab, Eliel and Obed, Jaziel from Zobah. Good night. That was a lot. All right, that's it for April 20th in here. The dog is growling. Oh my word, the haunted doorbell. And then the dog growling makes it real comforting. Okay. Let's do, I didn't change my day 9 in I'll Start Again Monday. Right about Wednesday is usually the place where I would get to the point of I'll start again Monday. It was usually Wednesday for me. I'd get through the first couple of days of the week and be like, I got this. I'm rocking this. I'm awesome. I can do this. And then by Wednesday night, I was like, it's almost the weekend. I'll start again Monday. No kidding. For real. That is when I did it. I usually get through 2 days, and I'd get through Wednesday morning, and then by Wednesday afternoon, I'd be like, I want takeout. Wednesday is it's almost the weekend. We're literally only 2 days into the week. We're almost the weekend, I'd say. I'll start again Monday. All right, day 9. But exercise makes me want to cry. Oh, no, I don't want to read this chapter. If she's going to try to talk me into exercise, I'm not going to enjoy this chapter. Exercise is not my jam. Can I just be honest? Exercise, especially cardio, has always been such a battle for me. I would half-heartedly do something physical a couple of times a week, hating every minute of it. The most frustrating part, something just hit my window. I don't know if it was a bird. What is going on? Something just ran into my window, and my window is way off the ground. Let me start that over. Can I just be honest? Exercise, especially cardio, has always been such a battle for me. I would half-heartedly do something physical a couple of times a week, hating every minute of it. The most frustrating part was half-hearted efforts only produced mediocre results. Over the years, I started slipping further and further away from an active lifestyle. Eventually, I wondered whether I would just resign myself to being out of shape. I wondered, have I reached an age and stage in life where losing weight and getting fit are impossible? The many extra pounds that had crept onto my body could easily be justified. After all, I'd birthed 3 children. I even seemed to gain weight with the 2 we adopted. This was my season for raising kids, not lifting weights. I was too busy running carpools to run for exercise. But in the quiet of my heart, I wasn't settled. I didn't feel good physically or emotionally. I would catch myself standing in front of the bathroom mirror in tears many mornings, lamenting over which pants could best hide my bulge. I cried out to God and admitted it was crazy to get emotional about my pants, for heaven's sake. I wanted to rise above this vain issue and be comfortable with who I was. The tide of justifications would roll back in, only this time with a spiritual twist. The world has sold us women a bill of goods that to be good we have to be skinny. I am too concerned with my spiritual growth to be distracted by petty issues such as weight and exercise. God loves me just the way I am. While the spiritual justifications also sounded good, if I was to be honest with myself, my issue was plain and simple, a lack of self-control. I could sugarcoat it and justify it all day long, but the truth was, I didn't have a weight problem, I had a spiritual problem. I depended on food for comfort more than I depended on God, and I was simply too lazy to make time to exercise. Ouch, that truth hurt. So the day after Mother's Day a couple of years ago, I got up first thing in the morning and went running. Well, the word running should be used very loosely for what I actually did. I got out and moved my body quicker than I had in a long time. And you know what? I hated it. Exercise just made me want to cry. It made me hot and sticky. It made my legs hurt and my lungs burn. Nothing about it was fun until after I finished. But the feeling of accomplishment... I don't know, Bass. The dog just looked at me like, what is it, Mom? I don't know, buddy. I don't know. It's the ghost of Amazon Past. I have no idea. But the feeling of accomplishment I felt afterward was fantastic. So each day I would fight through the tears and excuses and make the effort to run. At first, I could only slowly jog from one mailbox to another, in a neighborhood where the houses are close together. Thank you very much. Every day, I asked God to give me the strength to stick with it this time. Slowly, I started to see little evidences of progress. One day, I went out for my version of a run, and a clear command from God rumbled in my heart. Run until you can't take another step. Do it not in your strength, but in mine. Every time you want to stop, pray for that struggling friend you just challenged not to give up, and take your own advice. Don't stop until I tell you. I had a record up to that point of running 3 miles, which I thought was quite stellar. But as I reached that point in my run, my heart betrayed my aching body and said, "Keep going." Each step thereafter, I had to pray and rely on God. The more I focused on running towards God, the less I thought about my desire to stop. And this verse from Psalms came to life. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Psalm 73:26. As I ran that day, I connected with God on a different level. I experienced what it meant to absolutely require God's faith to see something through. How many times have I claimed to be a woman of faith, but rarely lived a life requiring faith? That day, God didn't have to stop me until I ran 8.6 miles. Hear me out here. It was my legs that took every step. It was my energy. It was my energy being used. It was my effort that took me from 1 mile to 3 to 5 to 8.6. But it was God's strength replacing my excuses step by step by step. For a mailbox to mailbox, crying when she thought of exercising kind of girl, it was a modern day miracle. I broke through the I can't barrier and expanded the horizons of my reality. Was it hard? Yes. Was it tempting to quit? Absolutely. Could I do this in my own strength? Never. But this really wasn't about running. It was about realizing the power of God taking over my complete weakness. I should also note that I went back to my standard 3-mile track the next time I ran, but slowly I increased my daily runs to 4 miles, and I am very happy with that distance. Running 8.6 miles on a daily basis isn't realistic for me, but that one day it was glorious, especially because of what I had discovered when I got home. Since I'd been thinking of a verse from Psalms during my run, I grabbed my Bible as soon as I got home and opened it to Psalm 86 in honor of my 8.6 miles. Here is part of what I read. Teach me your way, Lord, and I will walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart that I may fear your name. I will praise you, Lord my God, with all my heart. I will glorify your name forever. Verses 11 and 12. An undivided heart. That's what my whole journey in conquering my cravings was about. When it comes to my body, I can't live with a divided loyalty. I can either be loyal to honoring the Lord with my body or loyal to my cravings, desires, and many excuses for not exercising. The Apostle Paul taught the Corinthians about this when he wrote, Do you know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought with a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. I found the most interesting story in the Old Testament about how serious God is about people taking care of the temples entrusted to them. Before the Holy Spirit was given to us and our bodies became temples for God's presence, God was present with his people in a house of worship called a temple. The book of Haggai describes how one of the first things God's people did when they returned from exile in Babylon was rebuild the temple. They started out with great enthusiasm and wonderful intentions, but slowly slipped back into complacency and eventually stopped their work on the temple completely. Other things seemed more urgent, more appealing. Here's how God responded. This is what the Lord Almighty says. These people say, the time has not yet come to rebuild the Lord's house. Then the word of the Lord came through the prophet Haggai. Is it time for yourselves to be living in your paneled houses while this house remains a ruin? Now this is what the Lord Almighty says. Give careful thought to your ways. You have planted much, but harvested little. You eat, but never have enough. You drink, but never your fill. You put on clothes, but are not warm. You earn wages, only to put them in a purse with holes in it. This is what the Lord Almighty says. Give careful thought to your ways. Go up into the mountains and bring down timber and build my house so that I may take pleasure in it and be honored, says the Lord. Haggai 1:2 through 8. Oh, this reminds me just how divided my heart can be when it comes to taking care of my body, God's temple. Just like these people, I could so easily say, I'm not in a season where it's feasible to take care of my body. I just can't find the time between kids, my work responsibilities, running a home, paying the bills, and all the day-to-day activities. But the Lord's strong caution is to give careful thought to our ways and to make time to build his house so that he may be honored. God's people neglected building the temple for 10 years. Each year, something else seemed to be more important. For years, I did the same thing with exercise. Something else was always a higher priority. However, if I were really honest, I'd have to admit I made time for what I wanted to make time for. I always seem to find time to watch a favorite TV show or chat with a friend on the phone. Just the same, the Jews who returned from Babylon obviously had time to do things they really wanted to do while ignoring the home of the Lord. There were consequences of failing to care for the Lord's temple. Therefore, because of you, the heavens have withheld their dew and the earth its crops. Verse 10. Now, I'm not saying God will cause bad things to happen to us if we don't exercise, but there are natural consequences for not taking care of our bodies. Be it more weight and less energy now, or heart disease later, our choices matter in the physical and spiritual sense. Spiritually, when I'm not taking care of my body, I feel much more weighed down by my stress and problems. I have less energy to serve God and more challenging emotions to wade through when processing life. I'm actually thankful now for a body and a metabolism that require me to exercise. I've given careful thought to my ways and determined that taking care of my temple is a top priority. I schedule it. I've learned to embrace the benefits instead of resisting the hardship. And though I never thought I'd say this, I love the feeling of accomplishment running gives me each day. Even if everything else in my day falls apart, I can smile and say, yes, but with the Lord's help, I ran 4 miles this morning. Running may not be your thing, so find what it is. Find what is. My mom loves to say the best kind of exercise is the kind that you'll do. I agree. And while I fully realize my temple may not be God's grandest dwelling, I want to lift up to the Lord whatever willingness I have each day and dedicate my exercise as a gift to Him and a gift to myself. This one act unifies my divided heart and reminds me of the deeper purposes for moving my body. It's amazing how love can motivate us, especially when it's God's unreserved love matched with our undivided hearts. Okay. That stupid doorbell. I hate exercise. Okay, so I just went on my Ring doorbell and it's black and white, which tells me the battery is dying. So that has to be the issue. It has to be my battery is dying, and that is why it is dinging at me. Although it doesn't say low battery, and it usually does. Oh, I absolutely hate exercise. I hate it, but she is absolutely right. When I do it and push through, it feels good. I know, buddy. He's going to go in the other room. You getting scared? Are you scared at a doorbell? Oh. So maybe that's what a challenge needs to be coming up on my page, is for us to all start to exercise a little bit. You're right. It's a must for a diabetic. 100% makes a big difference in your blood sugar. All right, guys. Now we're all going to go exercise, right? Who's going to exercise today? Hands up. Who feels convicted to go exercise today? I'm not walking past my doorbell to do it because I'm scared I'm going to get stabbed to death by a crazy person who's out there dinging my doorbell. There's a scary person in there. See? I'm not going to go outside to do it. I ain't getting outside of this house until my husband gets up and walks outside with a weapon. I get a butcher knife and walk outside and look at my doorbell. That won't look weird on the recording at all. Whew. All right. So this morning for breakfast, I am in my coaching group only. I will be going live there only. So if you are part of Flames Coaching, I hope you join me for breakfast. I don't know what I'm going to have. I haven't even decided yet. I was thinking about having waffles, but it's almost 8 o'clock and I have to work. So I may have a bagel sandwich this morning over in my, I get the chills, Flames Coaching group. So I hope to see you there. I love you all. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you back tomorrow for more devotions. Bye, guys.